Yep.
Welcome to Meeples on Meeples, episode 33. I'm Adam.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Brian.
I'm Ian.
Before we get into our game of the week this week, as usual, we'd like to invite you over to our website, meeplesonmeeples.com, where you can see all of our game of the week photos, all of our weekly videos, as well as component shots for all the games we play. Also ask you to subscribe to our channel over on YouTube, where again you'll find all of our videos posted, and you can follow our activities there.
This week's game of the week is Dixit, a party game where basically it just consists of this thin little board, which is mostly actually just a score tracker and reminds you of the rules, and a deck of oversized cards. Everyone gets 6 cards in their hand, and basically when it's your turn, you look at your hand, your 6 cards, and you come up with a clue that matches one of your cards. It can be one word, it can be lyrics from a song, the title of a movie, a phrase, an inside joke with your game group, but you just give a clue and put that card face down. Then everyone else looks at their 6 cards, think of the clue that you just said, and they try to play their best card that matches your clue. Again, they're all played face down. The person whose turn it is then shuffles them all and places them face up next to the 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 6 players. Everyone looks at it, and then they vote for which one they think was the clue giver's card, the original player's card. And then it tells you to score. If everyone guesses the card, if your clue's too obvious, the clue giver gets no points for not being original. If nobody gets it because it's too obscure, the clue giver gets no points. Otherwise, it's a mixture of
1 to 3 points.
Yeah, 1 to 3 points, depending. If you trick somebody up, you get a point, etc. We'll play a quick round here, I think, to show you how it works.
And the way you vote is everybody is given a color that matches their little meeple, a stack of tiles, 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 if there's 6 players, and that's how you vote on the card. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You put out your color for that number card.
Okay, so Adam will be the clue giver this time, and we all have pre-polled. This one's rigged, but this was an actual hand that we played during a game, and you can just see how our minds work. But go ahead. What was your clue?
I shouldn't have eaten that.
Okay, so we all looked at our hands and we all played these cards. Face down, he takes them, shuffles them up, and then randomly lays one next to 1, 2, 3, 4. So, if I was yellow, for instance, I would look, do I think I shouldn't have eaten that? Is the dove dropping a broadsword out of his backside? We didn't catch this. This was Adam's actual card. The lion with the scorpion tail coming out of his butt. The woman with a watermelon in her stomach, pregnant lady. Or the, I don't know if it shows up on camera very well, but there's a little rip in his seam. And a lion passing evil dart gas. So we look at it. You cannot vote for your own to rig it.
And the person that gives the clue does not vote.
So then we all voted, and if I thought it was number 1, I would pick my number 1. And we'd say, is everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, and then we'd all show us at the same time.
And to make it fair, you all reveal at the same time. That way somebody can't, watch what everybody else does and then put out a number to try to either throw off the vote or
match them or whatever to cheat. And then you just score. So like I said, all players find the active player's card. Active player gets 0 points. We don't get 2 for guessing it. No players found his card because his clue was terrible. He gets 0 points. And then
the other players get 2.
We get 2 points, plus 1 for anybody who voted for us that we tricked with our card. And then if at least one person gets his clue and guesses the right card, he gets 3. The ones who guess correctly get 3, and then you get 1 point for everybody that you tricked into voting. And that's it. You just keep you discard those cards, you'll get a new one. So you always have 6 in your hand, and you keep playing like so.
Not a lot to this game, but what does everybody think of the components on this one?
They work for what it is. I mean, the card is oversized. The card stock is okay. It's not a thick textured card, but it's okay. The cardboard pieces are thick enough for what you use them for. I mean, you can see they're showing a little bit of, a couple of them are showing a little bit of wear on the edges.
Some dings and everything.
For what they're used for, it's good. The player mat is easy to see. The rules are right there on the pieces. You know where everything's laid out. I think it's fine.
It's what I like about it as far as the components go is, one, how simple it is for the simple game, but 2, that the board actually contains all the rules you need to know. I mean, I think that's a nice feature. You just lay it out there. You don't need to look in a rule book. It's all right there, and your scoring and everything is right in front of everybody.
My comment on the components is, if you look, we'll lay out a few more cards, but the artwork on them, and most of them don't have that writing. That's just because they included cards that are multiple sets of Dixit you can get and combine them all to have more cards. But the artwork is gorgeous. I mean, some of these are actually like, I don't know, good enough that they could be in an illustrated children's book, a graphic novel. Some of them could almost be works of art, like framed and you know, to meet a certain decorative need or whatever. But great artwork.
I do like
very colorful.
I do like the fact that all artwork kind of blend multiple themes together. Even I mean, they obviously don't make sense 100% to a certain specific thing. Obviously, you have like a main object, like the woman here. Obviously, she looks pregnant, but she's wearing a long flowing dress with a different type of background where it doesn't really, they don't always fit with each other. So you can use multiple different things.
Her dress
kind of reach out there.
Her dress looks like it has tentacles on it. So
right.
It's a human, but with kind of.
So it's basically your imagination is kind of limitless as far as where the cards can go and to where you want to play and how you want to play them.
And they could be interpreted a variety of ways. Like it's almost like every single card has a slight dark twist on it. So you could do like a scary or a dark or a funny. Just it's basically the sky's the limit how creative you are for the clues you give.
Also on the art style, what I kind of like, not only is it good, but the fact that there are different art styles within the cards. It's not like they had one artist that came and did all these. At least it doesn't look that way. They might have, but you got this card. It's got more of a cartoonish look. To this one, it's got more of a realistic look. I mean,
it's a watercolor sometimes.
So it's the fact that it looks like they at least had multiple artists in on this. And it just has a very nice look. The board is, on that note, is kind of plain as far as art goes, but you don't really need a lot. I mean, all you really need is a score tracker.
Score tracker and rules, yeah. I mean, it's nice and small. You can play it on almost any size table. The box is a little oversized, but I suppose if you bought multiple sets of Dixit, you could just combine them all into one box, and that would work fine.
I don't know if this works into the components or maybe anywhere, but it seems as if a lot of Disney themes come out in a lot of these cards. I mean,
they pick a lot of classic fairy tales or classic stories,
right? And so maybe that was
make it a family.
Well, I'm thinking like Lion King with the lion and the as you're kind of there's
a couple Alice in Wonderland.
Yep. There's it just seems a little. It just I almost seem to go to that
Harry Potterish type of.
Yep.
There's a lot of different themes that could be read into the cards depending on your background.
And it is ages 8 and up. So.
Yeah, so it just seems like a lot of Disney themes I kind of think of. That's like the first thing comes to my mind with a lot of this stuff. So,
how about moving on to strategy on this? I mean, personally, I'll kind of lead this off. I think strategy in this game is knowing your group, knowing what their sense of humor is.
It's a poker thing. Reading your player.
Yeah, I know. Like we played together enough that we know if we say a certain phrase, we're gonna get a certain type of card played. And that's where it's gonna go.
Or sometimes knowing that you have because you don't want everybody to guess it, then you get no points. You don't want nobody to guess it because then you were too hard. So it's having inside jokes is nice. Like if you're playing with we usually play with 5, it plays up to 6, but kind of have that, okay, I know these 2 people haven't seen this movie, so they won't get the reference. Or this joke was told at a party that these guys weren't at, so I know they'll probably get it and they'll vote correctly, but I'll throw them off, that way I get the points.
Honestly, people playing board games at a party.
Yeah, well.
Oh, yeah. It's board game night.
And then
board game night is not a party.
One of the problems with strategy, though, is you know your cards so well. But the problem is, for example, Ninja Turtles, you have your card really well, but nobody has a card that really matches that theme. So when you play it out,
yeah, and to kind of flesh that out, somebody used Ninja Turtles as his clue,
and none of us had anything to match it. So that's
all
the problem.
I played was it looked like a building in New York City. That's all I played. I'm like, it's just vague enough that somebody might vote for it and other people might not.
And to give you an example,
and it would have been a lot better.
Building.
To give you an example, the cards played on that. One of them was a smiley clown sitting on the moon,
and one of our players, Andrew, insisted that reminded him of Casey Jones.
That was the closest we got.
Andrew has clearly never seen a Ninja Turtle, or any kind of turtle.
But sometimes if you're so specific, everyone's looking at their cards and like, well, this is gonna be a fast round because I am nothing.
Yeah, you wanna play to your audience, but also keep your clues, I think, broad enough that because after you play the game a few times, you basically know the cards that are out there, and so you know that if you give this clue, there's a good chance somebody else at the table has one of those cards that fits that clue.
Or will remember the joke from 2 games ago or whatever. If you played with them before, they'll remember that I played this on. They'll remember that this clown is Casey Jones. So something like that. But the other people won't get it because they weren't there.
Anything else on strategy though?
It's a lot of just goofing around and like kind of luck of the draw.
On strategy, when you're playing out the cards, you're not supposed to give any hints.
Oh yeah,
to which one are,
that's a rule. But.
Yeah, that's where you can't start laughing. And sometimes what happens is when you have a group that's close as ours, and we're laying out those cards, and you see a card, and you're like, you just can't help but laugh because it's so
How does
obscure
that fit?
or inappropriate. It's inappropriate that you're like, this really does not belong, and you just can't help
Yeah,
it.
because once you comment on it, like, oh, or even sometimes people make an innocent comment, like, oh, that's upside down. What is that a picture of? Everybody's going, okay, that is not his card, so I might be able to vote for that one. So you can't, table talk, laughing and stuff is okay, but you can't give away that what is or is not your card.
How about likes and dislikes on this guy?
Likes, very easy to pick up.
Oh, yeah. One time around, everybody gets it, and like I said, just follow the rules.
And that gets into, I think the age is 8 and up on this. You might be able to work a little bit lower than that, depending on your...
Well, I've played with my kids, and my youngest is 6,
Yep.
and no, because their clues will be... My wife has to sit with my daughter,
True,
because their
that's
clues are
cool.
going to be so obvious. You know, it's going to be like lion cub, or, you know, pregnant woman, or...
I got
Once in a while, she has come up with something original, and or even cute or funny sometimes, but they're too obvious.
I can see
You know,
that.
they take everything...
Yeah.
Everything's literally, and so...
And to
8
take
and
that in the
up is
opposite
probably
direction,
good.
if you play with our group, that age, the
Yeah, it's
range
not
needs to be
appropriate.
higher.
18 and you must be this tall to ride this ride.
Yeah, the one thing I have, and we've talked about it a couple times today, is that we have these cards memorized.
I don't know what I memorized.
Well, I mean, most of them. I mean, for example,
There are some memorable cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or a lot of them are you say, well, we played this one before, and so you would want some expansions after a while because the cards get repeated and you just.
However,
kind of know
having
the
said that,
keywords.
we played this a few times, but tonight we played 4 games back to back, and I didn't feel like it got stale at all.
No. I mean, I would agree with him that one of the downsides is, I mean, for example, you gave a clue one time, and I knew exactly what card you were going to play because
Yeah.
I knew the card so well. You gave the clue, and I'm like, I don't even have to see the cards. I know what it's going to be. I know where my vote's going to go. So
That's true.
the variety. Like I said, you probably want to get
A couple sets.
A couple
sets.
Well,
just
you
so have
play
more-
with it
more
through
cards.
a few times, but when you start to notice that
And it's
the card
inexpensive
recall, that card recall is starting to occur, then that's a sign that you want to get an expansion. And
You can get them for around $30, give or take.
add to it.
Sometimes even less online, of course, and stuff. But
where do you guys stand as far as this similarities to like an apples to apples game? Because it plays very similar to that.
it does.
Where,
similarity.
but you're giving the guesser the power to gain the points at the time of apple to apples versus this is everybody can try to get points in the round, and they kind of it almost seems like they make it a little bit more complex than it really has to be if it kind of rolls more apples.
It's a little more, I guess, interaction, and you're always in it.
Because you're trying to get points.
Yeah,
all
the
time.
clue giver here gives the points, whereas in apples to apples, the clue giver does not get the points. I mean,
Yeah, the points go to the person
The person
who gets
that-
closest,
closest
to
to
the
the
what
clue
they
giver.
said, yeah.
So that's so in this one the clue giver is still playing the game and can gain points each round.
Everybody's in it for points. I mean, regardless of whether you actually get the most votes.
But you're looking at like an apples to apples that everything's based off like your own card deck and you just count your cards at the end. You're like I won, versus you have a board, you have the 4 different types of point systems. I mean, I get this as.
Are you saying which one do we like? I'm confused.
I'm
Are you
just
guys
saying,
saying which one do we like more?
But I'm saying like it almost making it too complex versus like what
This-
the idea of the premise of the
no.
game is very similar lines. It's just are you making it more complex than it really?
It's
has
kind of
to?
the same genre. I can see what you're saying. It's
It's
the
a
same
party
genre,
game.
but I think the idea of this is to be more complex, so that because in apples to apples, I just say this is what I want, and whoever's closest to that, I will choose who will get the point. Whereas here, the clue giver wants to get the points.
And you gotta play off the group dynamic.
Yeah.
You're not just playing to one person.
Every
you're playing to
person is
everybody at the
guessing.
table.
I like this.
I think this
This
is
way
more.
of playing.
I think you're right. It is more complex, but I think it's complex for a reason. I don't think it's just complex to be.
And personally, I think it makes it a better game that way. Like you said, everybody's always involved. Everybody's in the game.
Now you can't play as large groups before we go on. This is a smaller group. If you say it's a party game, I have a problem with calling this a party game because apples to apples is a party game. You can play lots of people with this. This is limited to 6. So if you consider a
But
party,
this is put in the family/party category.
I'd say family.
Time and time again.
I'd say family. I have a hard time calling this a 6 unless you.
I've seen how many friends you have. This is a party game.
Oh, wow.
Everybody can make it, and you still are shy a couple players.
Well, see, with my no,
You said friends plural.
with
though.
friends.
I don't know.
Our house is packed and we have friends over, so this wouldn't fit. This wouldn't work for us as a party game.
Okay, anyway, I think we're talking our opinions a whole lot, so we should score it from 1 to 10, 1 being bad, 10 being good.
Starting with me.
Yep.
I would give it a. Gosh. I give
Well,
it a
he never has played this.
Yeah, I'm stuck between a 6 and 7, and I know our video guy hates 6.5, but I would give it about a 6.5.
Our video guy?
Our video guy, or the guy who does Andrew, the guy behind the screen.
Casey Jones.
Casey Jones. Casey Jones is good. It does. I like 6.5. It's good. It's a great game when we get it together and we play. It has lots of laughs. But I am getting to the point where I know the cards too much, and the same jokes keep coming out without adding things to it. It's a little weak. I like the fact that it's easy enough to play. It's fast to play, but I'll play when everyone breaks it out. But it's not one of my favorites.
Sticking to the solid numbers.
I know. I was having a hard time.
I'm gonna go a 7 on it.
7.2.
7.231.
It's a fun game. I like it a lot. It's a 7 and not any higher for a lot of the reasons Pat already gave. Is the fact that after you've played it, I think about 8 times like us. I think it might start to get stale after a while. You can solve some of that by buying more add-ons. I realize more decks, but I don't know what the legs are for this game as far as how many times you're going to be able to keep bringing it out. That being said, when we've played it, I've had a ton of fun. I mean, I've laughed more playing this game than I think any of the games we've played for our board game nights. So I put it at a solid 7, just knowing that after a while it's probably going to get stale with your group.
See, now, I've played with multiple groups. I played with my my wife and kids. I played it with my kids and my in-laws when they've been over. I played it with you guys. I've probably played this game.
But no friends.
I bet you, but no, I have no friends. No, a good 20 times, if not more even. And see, the reason you guys think it's getting stale is because I bring it to this group, and we have these inside jokes that keep recurring. I don't think the average person has like one gaming group, and it's just when people are over or relatives are visiting. So the different groups you play with, it's going to extend the life of the game.
Yeah.
So I played more than you, and I don't feel like it's gotten too dry at all. And again, having said that, I would be more than willing to drop $25 to double the size of this deck and make it. I'm going to give it an 8. I've never been bored. We laugh every single time. Nobody really cares about the score. It's not who wins or loses, whatever. At the end, we're all just like, "Oh, that was funny. You know, that was a good time. Let's play again."
I got absolutely no points on this one, and it was still so much fun.
and we all were dying with the bird dropping the sword. I shouldn't have eaten that. It's a really good game. I'd say it's a solid 8, and I'll continue to play it. Like I said, I'll probably buy an expansion.
Okay.
As long as you're paying, I'll play too.
Yeah, no, I will play again. I'm gonna go with the 7. The fun factor's there with the game. It's very easy to pick up and very good to go into. So I mean that definitely brings it over like a 5 or 6 score. Play it again, a couple different more times, but again I think it's gonna dry out, and it's fun to have and maybe bring out to different groups of people. But not necessarily like as a repetitive thing. Like
can you think of any other games that we played 8 or more times that we're still laughing or having as much fun the 8th, 9th time as this?
Cosmic.
Okay, so one other game.
Survive.
We played
Tobago.
dozens.
You got where everything it's different every single time, and you cannot repeat that. And it does not
This is true.
come around again. I mean, there's a lot of very staple games that we played that we do play that I would have to put above this game.
I would agree. The problem is we review games so fast that most of our games get like 5 plays, and it's like, okay, we need to play something else for a review.
I would play Chupacabra more times than play this.
Seriously.
Well, Chupacabra's fast.
Wow.
I'm done.
That is not an endorsement
Have we
for
reviewed that
Chupacabra.
one? Have we reviewed that
No,
one?
we've not reviewed that.
And in this game's defense, what makes it personally, I think, a really good game is that it does play quickly. You can drop it in a kind of a filler game.
Just like the bird, you can drop it down.
You can drop it. So that's one of the pluses.
Panic Station was another one I really liked. So I mean,
But we played that like 4 times.
It's
I'm
an
just
amazing
saying,
game.
I don't know if it has the legs.
You cannot repeat that.
Right, girls,
that's
girls.
gonna change.
All right.
I think this has more legs because it's so easy. I think that's the reason why it's hit the table a lot.
That's our review of Dixit. Next week we will be reviewing.
Oh, should we say the one you keep saying and lying about?
Are we going to do Castles of Burgundy?
Yeah, that's up to
I'm
you.
asking you. You're always
you.
like, we're doing castles. And
Well, I was going to bring it tonight, but somebody... No. Yeah, we'll do Castles of Burgundy next time.